Yes. I guess that fills into the next topic, which is navigating that hiring process or the application process. So there's a side of actually going to interviews and things, which we won't really worry too much about today. But the thing I found interesting in my experience of this was I moved to Brisbane. So I finished university, couldn't find a financial planning job straight away. So I moved to Brisbane and then I was interviewing or trying to get a financial planning job. I just picked up the casual job. I was working, I think it's like an education company, basically just low level admin, nothing special. But when I went to apply for the job, I was reluctant to tell my current employer that I was looking for other work because then I thought I'd get fired. I moved out of home. Obviously I needed the job. So I was reluctant to tell them and be honest with them, which I'm a very honest person. So this kind of bit me in the ass a little bit where they had sat us all down. Look, this is the direction the company's going in. We want people here work for long term. We know you're casual right now. What's your future direction? What do you want to be doing? And I first kind of office job out of university, I was honest. I was like, well, this is a casual job for me. I'm currently looking for financial planning jobs that I studied for 4 years. This is what I'm looking for. I'm here casual. The pay is good. As soon as the job comes, I'm gone. And they pretty much turned around the next day and went, oh, great. We said you can work 8 hours. We're only giving you 5. And I was like,
so they did turn on you.
They turned on me. And I was like, I was as honest as I could possibly be, which then bit me in the ass. So then we had a change of management. They came down pretty much 2 months later, still looking for work, and change of management. Same thing, sat us all down. This is what we want from you. We're looking to make people full time. What's your direction? What are you thinking? And I was like, I was honest the outcome and you pretty much sift me. So I was like, yeah, I'm here long term. Like I'm willing to work.
You drank the Kool-Aid.
Like I'm willing to work. I want to be here long term, et cetera, et cetera. Like, right, here's more hours. And I was doing the best job I could. And then I found a job and I was like, hey, I'm leaving. No, like, what? I was like, you stitched me up last time. What do you want to do here?
Yeah.
But the interesting part of that was the hiring process, which I still remember. The job I was working at, call center kind of admin job, very casual, just wear whatever you want to work. But then I was applying for financial planning jobs in the city for a big financial planning company, suit and tie, 6 kind of rounds of interviews, very corporate process to go through for the job. And I didn't want to tell them that I was looking for work, but I always had to go for interviews at lunchtime. So I'd wear my casual clothes to the office because I couldn't work up in a suit.
No.
Everyone would be like, what are you doing? Wear my casual clothes to the office. And then at lunchtime, run to my car, put my suit on, and then run across town to the interview, sit down, interview, half an hour interview, great, cool, run back to my car, get changed in the casual clothes, think back to work.
Yeah.
I still remember the one day they had like casual Friday, which was like even more casual than we were. But I had a job interview that day and I just wore like my slacks and a long sleeve shirt. I'm like, oh, it's casual Friday. I was like, oh, I must have forgotten. Bye. It's all good.
How many interviews did you have on these casual Fridays? Several.
It's a tough one. But that hiring process, I think it's an interesting one because it's figuring out the time. If you're working full time, then when do you schedule in the time if you are looking for another job? Because there is, and we'll get to this in a second, is that managing that transition period of stopping and starting a new job. I don't know, what's your experience been? Have you been at jobs while still looking for other work?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'll share this one with you.
I was sick at lunchtime.
Oh, mate, I was on seat for 8 hours while I was at the Hilton. Look, and I'll share a bit of my experience. My experience at the Hilton was mainly positive, but the one thing that always bothered me was the people that I was working with. Loved the job, loved the customer service side of it, but for whatever reason, you've known me for almost 20 years now. I don't necessarily like doing what I'm told, which is kind of part of your job, what you're told, but for whatever reason, I just wasn't getting on with my bosses. And part of the hiring process for our company at the time was we would have what was called internal applications. And I wasn't getting on with my boss at the time in security. And I went to HR and I said, hey, look, listen, I think there's other jobs for me elsewhere as a supervisor in front office or as a internally. And this is probably the best story I can share. It ties in with preparing for another job. And I sat down with the director of HR and I said to them, I know I have the skills, communication wise, attitude wise, I'm savvy on the computers, guest service. I've got all these skills, but you are pigeonholing me in a basement in security, escorting homeless people off our property, dealing with drunk teenagers at 2:00 in the morning when I want to be at home with my daughter. What do I need to do in order to get a sales role, in order to get a reservations role? I was looking for anything and everything just to get out of there. And his response was, you need to be who your boss wants you to be. And I was like, no, I don't want to. But the reason I share that is because when you're honest with companies or when you're honest with your co-workers, you're always going to ruffle some feathers. At the interview process, we've established that you're never honest. But as time goes on, you will have to be yourself and you have to say, this is what I'll expect. This is what I want. This is what I'll tolerate. And this is what I won't deal with. when I sat in front of the director of HR and I realized that there was really no progression for me here, I was forced to look elsewhere. So again, going back to the preparation and the hiring process, understanding what your employer wants. If your employer wants you to listen to your boss, then what means more to you, your pride or your job? Okay, now I could have sat there and said, okay, I'll go back to the drawing board. I'll come up with a list of things that he wants me to do, and I will be a yes man. I just couldn't do that because of my pride. Now, if you came to me and said, hey, listen, there's a commentary gig for the UFC. Let me get the pen and paper out, and what do you need me to do? Absolutely, because that's a job that I want. My expectations don't matter because I want the job. The only thing that matters is their expectations that I fulfill them. Going back to your point of the employer has enough power today to say that this is what I want. If you don't give it to me, someone else will. That's the current climate we're in.
Yeah.
And fortunately enough, when I had the conversation with the director of HR at the Hilton, I pretty much told him, I said, look, listen, this isn't a long-term career for me. And you know that I've got the skills that you want. But if you're not going to
so annoying in that process where I said you were honest, you were asking, which putting my employer hat on.
Yep.
That's exactly what I want out of an employee. If someone came to me and said, hey, look, I enjoy working here. The current job, I think I'm more qualified. I think I can do better. What else do I need to do? It doesn't mean I spend the next 3 months working in that job, but then 2 hours a week I come work in the office or do. That is the initiative you want from someone for them to then turn around and just down and be like, no, thanks.
I'll give you this example. When we were hiring people to be new guards or even concierge team members, the chief concierge or my security manager would be, hey, have a look at this guy's resume, give him a call, get him in for an interview. I already know what the company wants, and I'll be able to tell whether it's from a resume or a phone call, the way they speak, the way they dress, the way they present themselves. I'll already know right off the bat. What frustrates me is that when you go to companies and you are honest like yourself, is they get greedy. And they either say, since you've asked, I'm going to open up the doors so you can give me more. And I understand that's the way the business works, right? You have to pay your dues. And I think our generation and younger, we're more take, less give. Whereas our parents were all give and take what's given to us. And then by the end of it, you were rewarded with a promotion or with a pay rise or with whatever. We're not. We want it and we want it now. So we'll go there. And if they say, oh, I need to do this and that, yes, okay, I'll do that. No, I'll go somewhere else. Yeah. And that's just the reality of the climate we live in. And I've seen it. I've seen guys come into interviews and they tell me, I've always wanted to work for Hilton. Ever since I was 7 years old, I wanted to be a security officer for the world's leading hotel chain. You don't. I'm looking at your profile photo. You just got divorced and you got 2 kids to pick. Don't lie to me.
Tell me the truth. Yeah.
Tell me the truth. But I think that's the climate we're living in. And I think if there can be an open discussion between employee and employer, you'll find that middle ground. But it's just so competitive out there at the moment.
It is. It's, I guess, like the dating process is that you want to be honest, but not too honest. And you end up this thing of it's a wrong fit. And it's if everyone in an ideal world, which I know it's not the world we live in, but in an ideal world, everyone's honest to say, this is exactly what I want. I want to do this, but it's hard to navigate.
No, everyone's got their manager's hat on. Everyone's drinking the corporate Kool-Aid.
Correct.
So and this is probably why I haven't really progressed in the shoes I've been in, is because I've never really wanted to sit at that table. I don't make that money, but I work the hours I want. I get paid the wage bet. They pay me. And then I'll find other ways to make up that financial gap. But I am getting to a point where I need to make up that gap, which is why I'm coming to see you.
We're in the right place.
We are.